What's going on, everyone? It's Chris, and welcome back to once again another episode of ManicManiac Predicts the NFL season. How's everyone doing today? I'm doing quite fine. So the 2016 NFL season has reached week number 8, which is essentially close to kind of the midpoint. You know, it's between week 8 and week 9. So we are almost halfway through. We're a week away for you know, after Monday Night Football, be halfway through. You get what I mean. It's halfway through the season, okay? And we have a general idea, you know, who we think are going to be contending for the playoffs this year and who might not. You know, I don't know if the 0-7 Browns will make it to the playoffs at this point, but you know, I think the Steelers are at 4-3, so maybe there's a chance, right? You know, some sort of miracle, and the Browns just go apeshit, and they just somehow win the division and completely blow everyone's minds. But most likely won't happen. So, welcome to Week 8, everyone. It should be an interesting slate of games, our fewest yet, as 6 teams are on bye. We should begin right now with our kickoff topic. And today we're going to talk about Sunday Night Football's Seahawks against the Cardinals. So in case you missed it, and I'm surprised if you have because it was a lot of people were talking about it, the game ended in the first tie since 2014 when the Panthers and Bengals finished their game with a tie. This is and it was also the lowest scoring game since the overtime period was actually established, or the lowest scoring tie rather since the overtime was established, and it was what a game it was to watch. I actually found it pretty entertaining at times. I mean, I know a lot of people, you know, they are really, people like offense. People genuinely like seeing major plays done on offense more than defense. I think that's a general consensus, but there's also a lot of people, including myself, who love both sides of things, and I love the good defensive battle that it was. And I don't know about you, but that overtime was entertaining as hell to me. I was actually rooting, and this is probably terrible for me to say, I was rooting for Steven Hauschka to miss that last kick, because I just was like, what if we just make this the most amazing tie that we've seen? And it ended 6-6. So this brings a lot of questions, you know, to the table that we haven't talked about a lot since there hasn't been a tie in a while. But my question to people out there: do you think that there should be ties in football? And I personally don't believe there should be. Like I said yesterday, or Sunday rather, I was rooting for it, but this time around, not really. You know, or rather, this time around I was rooting for it, but like overall, I'm not usually a big fan of ties because you want to play for the win. You know, that's why as of lately I've started to enjoy college football a lot more. Because first of all, believe it or not, the college football product is actually a lot more entertaining than right now what the NFL is providing. Not saying the NFL is not fun in any way, because it absolutely is fun to watch, but it just hasn't been as fun. And the overtime period for college is amazing. It's fantastic. And we talked about you know, the college football overtime a few weeks back. In fact, I believe it was the week 2 predictions after the Chiefs one, and it really brings into question, you know, like, not necessarily, you know, if we should have each team have a possession or not. It really just comes down to, should be able to win the goddamn game? Should it not end in a tie? And the arguments could be that, like, okay, well, we have these games lined up, you know, the slate of games is lined up so that way they don't go over for too long, you know, because you have games that immediately follow it. You know, you have, like, let's say a game in the 1 o'clock afternoon, you know, they are going into overtime, and then they go to second overtime and third overtime, and it's already, like, the first quarter's already over in the 4 o'clock games for some reason. And that's gonna get frustrating to people who want to watch that game. Instead, they're stuck watching an overtime game, which is why there should be options. You know, I know that there's a lot of issues with trying to simulcast games on other channels, but if you're locally supposed to get a game and instead you're watching an overtime of another game, and you don't want to watch that, you want to watch the game that was supposed to air in the later afternoon, have that be simulcasted on CBS Sports Network or an FS1, any of those side channels that may not have as big of a game going on or as big of programs going on those channels, because that way people are at least satisfied at that point. Of course, people will also have to have the cable channels that will have access to to CBS Sports Network and FS1. Actually, you know what? No, I think they're also in digital or in satellite as well. I don't know. Regardless, they should be able to simulcast these games just in case something were to happen when it goes into overtime, second overtime, and all that. So this is so I know that that's probably a concern for people to have it go over, but it's so much more satisfying for the people on the field and the people off the field who are watching the game if a team wins it. If a team actually wins the game, because then you don't have this kind of weird, like 15 or let me think of a good record here, like 7, 8-1. Like that is weird. That's a weird record to say. You could just say 7-9 or 8-8. It's so much better. I know that's such a weird, nitpicky thing to say, but like you want to have these just win-loss records. That's all that matters. It's just win-loss. We don't have to have ties in there. To me it's just bizarre. So that's just where I'm at. That's just how I feel. Let me know in the comments below. Should there be ties in football? And if so, why do you like ties? What is it that you prefer about a game ending in a tie? Or not about what you prefer, but just why do you think that's an interesting element of football? And if you don't like the tie, tell me why the hell not, I don't know. If every tie ended the way like that did, an absolute fucking mess that was hilarious to watch, I would enjoy it, but I'm an advocate for no ties. We play out till the winner goes through. So, hope that wasn't too, ranty. It probably was, but there you go. There's our kickoff topic. Let's jump right into our bye week. And look at all these teams that are going ahead and take the week off. We'll start at the top left with the New York Giants, who got a nice win in London on Sunday. It was a weird game. A lot of these games have been weird, but great. One of the best plays of the year by Landon Collins. I was so excited to see that happen. That was I didn't see it happen live, unfortunately, because I was sleeping. I've had a rough few weeks. I need the extra sleep. But I got up soon after that happened. They uploaded it to YouTube. I watched it. I was just like, holy shit, that was awesome. So great pick six for Landon Collins. In fact, that was a multiple interception game for him. So far the Giants, they have some Pro Bowl candidates on both sides of the ball, but this team just needs to get their act together against a better team. They need to beat a really good team. The only really good team that they've beaten thus far, I believe, has been the Cowboys. That was a big deal. Other than that, they beat the Saints. They beat the Rams, and what was the other one? Crap. They beat the Ravens. But the Ravens are also having their struggles. We'll get to that in a second. So the Giants need to prepare themselves to play better on both sides of the ball, because they do have bright spots on both sides, but they need to have them combine to do great things. Because if this team can really get to where its potential can be, what it looks like on paper, it can be a really good team. But it's a tough division. The NFC East has gone from one of the worst to one of the best divisions in football right now, and it's they're just having inconsistencies, so they need to work on that. The Rams, meanwhile, most likely will have Jared Goff start in Week 9. I mean, I don't really blame them, but like there is just some weird moments. I do personally want to give credit to some of the Giants' defensive line, because there was some times where they would pressure Case Keenum into making bad throws, but he had 4 interceptions, and one of them was throwing the ball in the air, and it was no one was there but one Giants defender who caught the ball for that interception. And it was just pathetic. It was really just like, I can understand maybe you're under pressure, but you gotta, if that at that point, if you're gonna give up on a play like that, if you're at all thinking, you gotta either just hold the ball and just take the sack, or just you throw it in another direction, overthrow it. Just make sure it doesn't get in the hands of of the other team. That was a weird ending. So possibly, Jared Goff will get the start against the Panthers, and we'll see what happens. I would be very happy to finally see Jared Goff at quarterback, because I want to see what this kid can do in the regular season. And usually I would say, oh God, the Panthers, how could you put him against the Panthers? But I don't know if the Panthers are as good as everyone has thought for a while. But I mean, I don't know, I might eat my words after Sunday. They might demolish the Cardinals, who knows? But I don't know, maybe it might be a good test for Jared Goff right out of the gate, so we'll see. Dolphins, meanwhile, great back-to-back wins against Steelers and Bills, 2 teams that have been riding high, doing pretty well. And now both of those Steelers and Bills are now at 4-3. But the Dolphins, to me, are starting to look like they're getting it together. Bits and pieces. It takes time. But Jay Ajayi, first of all, congratulations to Arian Foster for retiring. That's fantastic. He was the running back for the Dolphins before he got another injury, and he probably was just done at that point. But the Dolphins, to me, with Jay Ajayi, who I was skeptical, but as someone who actually roots for the Boise State Broncos, they're right now my number 1 team, who roots for the Boise State Broncos, I'm glad that Boise State Bronco is kicking ass in the NFL right now. Miami Dolphins got a great runner who has now had 2 games with 200 yards. That's fantastic. At least the Bills kept it close this past week. It was the Steelers just could not get it together. But yeah, I will say the Dolphins, they might have something up their sleeve now. They get this break, and I believe I'm trying to remember who they have to face. They have to face the Jets next. That could be another win. That could be at 4-4, and then the following week they face the Chargers, and the Chargers have been on a good streak. But if they win that game, they're at 5-4, and probably at that point the Dolphins might be second place in that division, and might end up trying to take down the Patriots. They have the Rams the week after that, in week 11, and then week 12. Let's see, what do they have? They take the Niners. This actually could happen. The Dolphins could go on a win streak. The Ravens, if they're not doing so high with their offense, they could do that well. Maybe the first challenge for the Dolphins coming out of the bye will be the Cardinals in week 14. Oh man, and yeah, that's I'm right now just looking through the schedule, but man, then they have 3 weeks of divisional opponents, but these guys, I'm not saying that this is going to be like a dominant team, but if they continue performing the way they've performed the last 2 weeks and maybe clean it up a little bit on both sides of the ball, oh man, they could really make a run for it, because right now I think the wild card field is kind of open unless the AFC West dominates it. But it's interesting. Ravens, in the meantime, another potential wildcard team, potential AFC North contender as well. They're going into this bye another loss, and they have lost 4 straight now. That is, and to lose to the Jets, which I know, I understand, that they're having the issues, but to lose to the Jets, who have just stunk up the joint lately, I could not believe that happened, and that was one of those games that I was just shocked at. The other being the Falcons-Chargers game. Well, actually, not really. At least the Chargers are good enough to contend if they don't give up games. But the Ravens need to get their act together. This is the time to get their act together, because now, when they come out of the bye, they have to face the Steelers, who are also on bye this week. So it's not, they don't really have a competitive advantage, other than the fact that they will be hosting the Steelers at home. So I don't know. Should be interesting to watch. I'll keep my eyes peeled for that. But Steelers Ravens just need to get their act together on offense, and they need to get their injured players back. That's the main concern, is that they have so many players that have been injured. They need to get back all those guys, because then they'll be able to start winning games again. Steelers, in the meantime, have their own batch of injuries, including one to Ben Roethlisberger, and I don't know for sure right now if he's going to be back before the bye. I'm not too sure. Or back after the bye to face the Ravens. Like, who knows right now? But if he is, then now that would be great for them. But if they're injured again with him out, and then maybe a few other key players out, yeah, it could be a very interesting game in Week 9 between the Steelers and Ravens, who are right now the top 2 teams in the AFC North. And well, with the Bengals, I guess. So because I forgot the Bengals and the Ravens now have the same record, but even the Bengals are beat up. So who really knows what's happening in the AFC North right now? So yeah, to me, the Steelers, they had a great start to the season, but they've now they're slowed down now. Lost to the Dolphins, lost to the Patriots. I mean, that was kind of a given that the Patriots were going to end up beating them. Although they did contend, they did compete against them, and that was maybe like one of the first times that we really saw, other than at least with Tom Brady back, that was the first time that we really saw the Steelers competing with the Patriots, and that was without Ben Roethlisberger. So I don't know, that could be a fantastic playoff matchup if it gets to that, Steelers versus Patriots. So we'll see. I see the Steelers will be fine, but hopefully they get Ben Roethlisberger back soon, otherwise it might be trouble. Meanwhile, the Niners, on bye, finally, and only having one win on the season. That was back in Week 1. It's rough, man. It's been a rough season for them thus far, and it was a semi. Yeah, it was not. It was a pretty close game, not by a landslide, but it was like a. Yeah, no, it was pretty bad actually. But anyways, regardless of that, the Niners, they have to just think to next year, because right now they're not doing well on either side of the ball, and they may start trading people. I know that Joe Staley has been considered, their star offensive tackle is being considered to be traded. Torrey Smith is being considered to be traded. So we really don't know for sure what could happen. Hell, maybe by the time this video comes out, one of those two have been traded, or maybe another player has been traded from them. But all I know is, this team has fallen from grace from 2012, and they need to get their rebuild back on, and they need to start fresh, a new quarterback. They need to draft a quarterback. They need a more wide receivers. They need there have been a few that have done well for them, but they need a better wide receiver core. They need to add more in the back end. There's just so much that this team needs to do, because they've just been miserable. So hoping the best for them. we'll see what happens. One of their players came out, I forget who, but they said that they are one of the best teams in the NFL. I get that the players have to kind of say that, to kind of keep the team's confidence up, but you also have to look realistically and be like, look, right now you don't have a great team. You'll have a great team once you start winning games, but you got to start winning games first. The Buccaneers, I think, was a winnable game, and they blew it. So, what you got to do? All right, let's move on. Let's check out our last week's predictions. Hopefully, I'm able to edit the predictions in, but if I'm not able to, we'll just jump right into the records. So I'm going to go with the Packers. I am going with the Giants on this one. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I'm going to pick the Titans. I'm going with the Vikings to go 6-0, but I'm going with the Bengals. I think the Lions can pull it out. I'm going with the Raiders right now. I'm going with the Bills. I'm going to go with Baltimore. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers. I just think they're a better team, so I'm going to go with the Falcons. Patriots win. Patriots are dominant. I'm going to pick the Cardinals for the upset. Broncos win. Alright, so as you can see, this first time that we're going to have 3 numbers across for our record, 63-43-1, about 20 game difference between our wins and losses, which is pretty much where I like it. We are at least a week ahead of, like if we had a terrible week, the record we get, we build up our losses, but it won't be enough to catch up with my win total. So right now I'm doing all right, but we'll see what happens. You never know. So 63-43-1 has been pretty okay season for me thus far, but again, anytime I can really blow it. And I think this is a week where I can definitely blow it. Because I think there's a good amount of toss-ups. A lot of, games that could go either way. We'll start with one game that I think could go either way. Thursday Night Football. Jaguars against the Titans. Yes, the annual Jaguars-Titans game, in which it's the only primetime game that either of these two teams are a part of. Kind of sad, honestly. I think, the Titans have been kind of fun to watch every once in a while. Jaguars, they've been kind of messy. But I think that if either of these teams can get at least to 7 wins, I mean, I know that might be a stretch, but either of them could get to at least 7 wins, they might be considered for primetime spots. And I would definitely enjoy that because I like seeing new faces. And we won't have to see them in ugly color rush uniforms in primetime. They could just be in their regular fucking uniforms. So let's look at the Titans first, because they are coming off their first loss in about a few weeks. They were on a winning streak for a bit. Lost to the Colts. Again, it's been a long time since the Titans beat the Colts, but I was upset to see them lose that, but they're still they're trying their best. They're trying their best because, look, DeMarco Murray has been one of their best has been one of the best running backs in the league thus far this year. I know that's that's a big statement to make, but he has on multiple occasions ran for many yards and has been, I believe, in the top 3 running backs in the league right now in actual rushing yards. So they have a pretty good running game, but it's everywhere else that might be an issue. Marcus Mariota, he continues to make some good plays as well. There's some defensive stars here and there, but overall this team is at the record that they're at 3-4 because they're good enough to, they have enough good players to actually win games, but they have not enough on all sides to actually complete some games that they should win. I think they should have won against the Colts, but that didn't happen. Meanwhile, the Jaguars continue to fall apart, and it's borderline depressing me at this point. I just think the Jaguars yes, they faced the Raiders. It was a tough opponent, but the Jaguars right now they completely are destroying their expectations, and it sucks because I say this every single time where I talk about the Jaguars game, but I was rooting for them so much to do well coming in to 2016, but right now it's just not looking that way. This is a winnable game for both sides, both teams, but I am going to go with the Titans. Just because the Titans have been playing a lot better than the Jaguars as of late. Alright, Redskins, Bengals. The Redskins played really well against the Lions, even though they came out with the loss. They just couldn't stop Matthew Stafford in his MVP-like season. Redskins have, they played well on offense, but not as well on defense. And this could be bad for the Redskins if they don't have Josh Norman, who I believe is in concussion protocol at the moment. But they're also facing a Bengals team that might be without Jeremy Hill. We don't know. As of right now, I do not know the status of Jeremy Hill. But that could be a huge blow to that offense, who rely on that two-back offense with him and Jeremy Bernard, or not Giovanni Bernard. Sorry, but this is an ideal matchup here. I think this is going to be one of the better games, the best game that they're sending to London right now. Two teams that were in the playoffs last year, both of them off to up and down starts, I would say. But right now, the team that has been playing the better football between the Redskins and the Bengals, it's been the Redskins. And I gotta give it to them. I say the Redskins are going to come away with the victory. I think the Bengals can absolutely beat them. But again, I just think right now the Bengals, their wins included the Browns. They won against the Jets. And I forget who the other one is, but it will come to me. But the Bengals, they just haven't gotten that game yet, or played in that game yet where they are absolutely. Oh my God, it's passing me by right now. I'm so sorry. Oh, and the Dolphins. Dolphins now is starting to look a little bit more impressive, but they haven't played a team yet or faced a team yet that really calls to me like, oh yes, these guys are a playoff contender. Right now, it's not looking like that. Redskins, they've played pretty well the past few weeks, and they beat the Eagles, which is, the Eagles have been pretty good, and that alone, I could say, and they beat the Ravens, which right now is not really looking too impressive either. They beat the Giants, who, again, another good NFC East team. Right now, the Redskins are actually they're 2-1 in the NFC East, which I think is fantastic considering, how tough the East is this year. So yeah, on all levels right now, the Redskins are the much better team than the Bengals, and that's just my opinion. All right, Chiefs and Colts. Now, let me tell you a little factoid here. This is the first time that these two teams are facing each other, even though they're in the same conference. This is the first time that they are facing each other since the 2013 playoffs. That's right. They did not face each other in 2014, and they did not face each other in 2015. I believe that. I mean, I could be very, very wrong there. But I believe that the playoff game 2013, if you do not know about it, that was a fantastic game. That was a high-scoring, comeback victory for the Colts. It was just awesome, an awesome game to watch. I went back and watched because that was 2013 playoffs were around the time I started getting into football. So I went back and watched that a few years ago, and it was a lot of fun to watch on Game Pass. So it's been a long time since then. You know, the Colts, you know, they're not looking like a playoff team right now. Chiefs, they've been playing pretty well now, starting to look like their playoff team selves. To me right now, the Colts defense, I mean, they took care of the Titans, but I still don't have faith in the Colts defense. Andrew Luck is playing pretty freaking well, but I don't think he alone is going to be able to beat teams outside the AFC South, to be kind of frank. You know, it's just they have continued to struggle. I mean, they beat the Chargers, to be fair, but just saying, as a general rule of thumb, and they got another win too that was outside of their division, so I don't know what I'm saying. It's been a long day. Anyways, the Colts, to me, right now, Andrew Luck, I don't think he can do enough to carry this team to every single victory for the season. So when they come to tough teams like the Chiefs, who are playing well right now, they're getting their groove going. When they play a team like the Chiefs, I don't expect good results. I am picking the Chiefs. Alright, Cardinals, Panthers, man. I would have been so pumped for this matchup if it wasn't for the fact that these two teams have had pretty sucky starts. Cardinals are looking better, even though they are coming off of a tie. Panthers, not so much. They've been miserable. They've been absolutely freaking miserable. Haven't gotten a win since week number 2. This is a do or die game for the Panthers. They need this game. And it's a tough opponent to get this win for, but they need to get it, because if they want to go on a winning streak, they need to go through this team. Because they also have to face, you know, the Seahawks down the line. They have to face the Falcons again down the line. It's had problems with the Saints, and they have to face them down the line. Like, it's just, this is rough to watch for the Panthers. They need this win more than anything right now. With that being said, the Cardinals have been playing better, so especially they played fantastic defense, not so much offense, but if their offense can get going against the Panthers defense that's not like the defense from 2015, it should be easy going for the Cardinals. Cardinals will win this game. Alright, Raiders, Buccaneers. Yes, the 2002 Super Bowl. Yeah. Oh man, I love I wish I was a football fan back when I was, what was I, 6, I believe. I wish I was a football fan back when I was 6 years old, because I would have loved this matchup between the Raiders and the Buccaneers, because they're two teams that, well, it would probably be better for me now, because the Raiders are now considered a tortured franchise, and so are the Bucs. But the Bucs have always been. But this matchup is intriguing in a lot of ways, because you have pretty interesting offenses on both sides. Obviously, the Buccaneers are still dealing with Doug Martin being out. I don't know when he will be back. But you know, if he does come back for this game, I don't know if he will or not. I do not know the injury update on that. If he does come back, though, that could be big, because other than that, though, if they could get some defensive players back too, that could be huge for this team to face against a Raiders offense that has been playing lights out, that has been just doing really well, and they still are struggling on defense, the Raiders. This could be a game where the Buccaneers could try to upset the Raiders. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think the Raiders have been playing too well. They're right now, if you look at the playoff picture, the Raiders are right now the 2nd seed in the fucking AFC, which is awesome. I love seeing a team that, when I first really was becoming a football fan, went 3-13 going to the number 2 seed. Like, to me, it's just a feel good thing for me. But Raiders, I will say, win this game. I have a lot of road teams on this list. You'll notice that pretty soon. All right, Seahawks and Saints. So the Seahawks are coming off a tie, and they have a fantastic defense. We knew that already. But their offense is struggling, especially with Russell Wilson having to deal with the injury that he's with his knee, right? It's his knee injury, right? I don't know, something with his leg. Don't know exactly. I'm sure I'll look it up later. But I think that the Seahawks they've only had one loss this season, and that was early on against the Rams. This is a beatable team. The Saints, I mean, they're coming off of a loss to the Chiefs, and the Saints, they were competing to the end for sure, but they just couldn't get the job done. This could be an interesting game in a lot of ways for the Saints. This could be they could show Jimmy Graham what he's missing down in New Orleans, right? Well, while Jimmy Graham's just partying up in Seattle, having like a career year right now, they could be like, well, you could have been with us still, with Drew Brees. Like, come on. So, yeah, for me, this is going to be a beatable game for the Seahawks. This is an easy win for them. Seahawks get the win. Saints, sorry. Maybe they'll do it. Maybe they'll do it, but I think the Seahawks got this. All right, Lions, Texans. This is a tough one for me. This is a good game, first of all. This is a prolific offense against a pretty good defense. Defense was kind of hurt by the fact that the Broncos steamrolled them. I couldn't think of their freaking name. I'm getting distracted anyway. I apologize. Lions and Texans. This is a tricky matchup in a lot of ways, and I do wonder if the Texans will be able to contain Matthew Stafford, especially with the way that he's been playing. I don't know what like statistics of Matthew Stafford playing on the road is, but I just have a lot of faith in both of these teams to come out with the win. This is such a tough week. I'm telling you, this is such a tough week to pick games. That's why I'm like stuttering over my words right now. It's because I'm trying to think, well, you have this, no, you got that. It's like a flip of a coin to me. I'm going with the home team. I'm going to regret it because Matthew Stafford's been playing awesome, but I'm going with the Texans. I say they finally rebound. The Texans finally rebound. Or not finally, they beat the Colts, but still, they beat a pretty decent team in the Lions and moved to 5-3 and continue running away with the AFC South. Patriots and Bills, already a rematch, but not too ridiculous. It's been week 2 when these two faced, or I'm sorry, week 4. Oh wow, yeah. So it's been only 4 weeks. It's been a month. So now a lot has changed in the month, though. You now have, LaShawn McCoy, who is questionable right now, going into New England. That could be a huge blow to them if he's not healthy. It would be hurtful for the Bills. And Patriots have Tom Brady back for this game, so they have Tom Brady to face the Bills. So what are the chances, honestly, that the Bills would sweep the Patriots? I think the Bills are a pretty good team. I still have confidence in them despite their performance against the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are genuinely just getting better, and the Bills just couldn't get it done. And I think that they're also having issues with not having LaShawn McCoy being as healthy as he was earlier in the season, and that's, I think, is going to be their downfall in this game. And just the fact that the Patriots are the fucking Patriots. I'm predicting. I've said this again. I'll say it again later. the Patriots, I'm not going to pick against them ever because they're the fucking Patriots. They come out with a win every single time. So the Patriots will win this game. But, you know, of course I'm going to root for the Bills to beat them because they'll make things more interesting. But, well, we have to think realistically. Alright. Jets at Browns. And if there's any game for the Browns to win, it's this one. This is the game for the Browns. Yes, the Jets won. Yes, you know, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he came back onto the field and he led the team to a good old touchdown drive, and it was great. But I do think that the Browns have a chance to finally get a win, potentially. I know that's really not putting the faith in the Jets. I will pick the Jets to win this game, but I tell you, I would actually place money down saying that this is going to be like a 3-point game. Like, it's going to be a close game, if anything. So I'm going to pick the Jets. I mean, as much as it would be interesting to see the Browns go 0-16, I think that they're going to get win somewhere. This is a game that they could get it. Alright. Okay. Alright. Let's think about this for a second. 2 weeks ago, Thursday Night Football, Chargers take on the Broncos. 2 weeks later, they're taking on the Broncos again, the Chargers. So, I don't know why the schedule ended up being like that. We saw it last year, later in the season, when the Panthers and the Falcons faced each other within a 2-week span. That series ended up splitting. So I'm going to go off of that theory. I'm going to say, because it's within a 2-week span, I'm going to say the Broncos will win this game. Not solely on that. I also think the Broncos played well on Monday night and could get the job done. And the defense will hopefully suffocate Phillip Rivers. We'll see what happens, though. Alright, Packers and Falcons. This is a big matchup because you have two teams that have had their share of scrutiny as well as their share of stardom, you know, this season. The Falcons have been considered an NFC, you know, powerhouse in a way, but last few games had trouble. Lost to the Chargers in overtime. Meanwhile, the Packers, they got a big win against the Bears on Thursday Night Football, but that doesn't mean that Aaron Rodgers isn't back yet. He might still have his issues. Intriguing matchup. A really good offense against a defense that's been doing pretty well in winning the Packers games. A really good offense of the Falcons, anyway. That's what I was saying. So, again, this could be another flip of the coin situation. I'm going to go with the home team, Atlanta Falcons. Let's see if how the Packers will respond to a 4-3 start this year. All right, this is the big game of the year, potentially, right? This is two rookie quarterbacks that have been playing awesome football, coming together and now playing for the first time. And it's a divisional rivalry. It's in Dallas, and the NFL loves, like, you know, screwing Dallas in the butt in a pleasurable way. That was a weird analogy. I apologize. But you know what I'm talking about. The Cowboys are America's team. It always draws big ratings. This is the perfect game for the NFL. This could be hopefully what gets the ratings back up for football, because I think this is a huge game against two teams that have been playing so well. And I know that, you know, the Eagles, they lost against the Lions, and they lost against the Redskins. Yeah, okay, but they beat the Vikings. The Vikings lost and the Eagles took care of business a lot. And though the offense wasn't as, you know, as great as it was in the beginning of the season, this team still has played pretty well. And I do think that between the Eagles and the Cowboys, I think, have the advantage here because of the fact that Eagles have been struggling with offense since they lost Lane Johnson. And I think right now, with the return of Dez Bryant, I'm not really convinced that the Eagles can top the Cowboys, but it could happen. Again, this is another one of those close games that anything can happen. Cowboys, I say, take the cake. I expect a fantastic game. If there's anything less, I will be pissed. I'll be pissed, I tell you. Vikings at Bears. Look, I'm not gonna go too much into this. Vikings are 5-1. Bears are 1-6. They have Jay Cutler coming back to play quarterback. Vikings are gonna win. And that is your NFL predictions. 45-minute long rant session. Woo! Love it. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know about what you think about ties in the NFL, and if you have any predictions for yourself this weekend. Again, a lot of these are toss-ups. All these predictions that I put out there could change, except for the Vikings-Bears one. If the Bears win against the Vikings, I don't even know that I don't have any. I would eat all the paper clips on my desk right now. I just swallow silver after silver because that would be fucking insane, and that would look bad for the Vikings going forward. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.